Here we are, Monday morning, the first Monday after Thanksgiving. I hope that each and every one of you had a great holiday season and a nice, happy Thanksgiving. We now can move into the Christmas season. It's a good time, and it's I think smart of our forefathers to have the election in November. It's a time that we can get together and heal our dissatisfaction and help those of us that had the person become part of your team. Thank you, Norma, for joining. If we're happy with the election, to be gracious winners and recognize that there's a lot of pain when you don't win. I know that I have been there. Shana Carey, thank you for joining. This morning, I want to talk about a cup of water. Seems like a silly title perhaps, but a story of my life. Joshua Wickers Fretter. Thank you for, Joanna Wickers Fretter. Thank you for joining, Joanna. Or Joshua, I'm sorry. No, it's Joanna. Okay, got it straight now. For me, a cup of water represents a lesson I learned when I was 7 years old. It's an interesting story. It became a metaphor for my business life. As most of you know that know me, my name is Bill Mitchell, founder of Bill Mitchell Academies. As a young boy growing up in rural Michigan, we didn't have any inside plumbing in our home. We had a pump outside, one of those old-fashioned long-handled pumps that you had to go out with a pail and pump your water for your house. Well, beside this pump was a little cup, and it was filled with water. And this cup of water could be the difference between you satisfying a thirst and not being able to get any water. You see, the idea of the cup was there as a device that you used. You picked the cup of water up and you poured it down the top of that pump. That water went down the pump and it made a little leather tether in there wet, and it provided suction, so when you pumped the pump, it would pull the water up. And the first thing you would do after you poured the water in there was you'd fill your cup up with water and set it aside and get whatever you use to get a drink with, and you'd drink your water to your fill. Now, two things that we always thought about and came to our mind. We're really thirsty. We were just playing touch football over here in the field, and we wanted to drink water. And sometimes someone would make a mistake, and they would go over there and run and grab that water and drink it. And the rest of us couldn't get any water. So obviously there was a lot of confusion and wrestling around about ultimately everyone learning you don't do that. And the other thing that you learn is that sometimes you pour that water in there, it's a gamble. What if it doesn't get the little leather tether wet enough to provide the suction to bring the water up? So there's all these thoughts. But the one thing you knew, you had no chance of getting a lot of water unless you used that small cup of water to wet the leather tether in the pump. So you would pump it, and the first thing you would do is you'd fill that cup up and you'd set it aside, as I said earlier. So this cup of water became a metaphor for me in my business life. Most of you know I've been an entrepreneur for the last 60 years. I've built several houses in Southern California and sold them. Mentored over 4,000 sales and marketing corporate executives. Held several corporate positions. Had several businesses of my own. Started several businesses. Sold several businesses. But I always had this metaphor of this cup of water in my mind. And what it represented was, if I wanted to make a change in my life, or I wanted to build some houses, I needed to have a cup of water in the form of money. I had to have some money set aside so I could do that. And when I took that money to invest in that project, there was a risk. And I've taken risks that failed, and I've taken risks that succeeded. Fortunately, the successes have exceeded the failures. But you have to recognize that when you do invest in a project and you make money, the first thing you need to do is, like that cup of water, is restock your money supply so it's over here for a rainy day. Too many people have some financial success and they suddenly think it's going to be that way forever, and all of a sudden it's gone and you have no reserve. Too many young people today go out and buy things that their parents have that took their parents several years to acquire, but they want them now because they're used to them. Well, life doesn't work that way all the time unless you've got generational money that's passed down to you. So this cup of water represents an idea and a thought that you need to keep into your mind, so that when you do want to make a move for more, maybe you're unhappy, maybe the ceiling's too low in the job that you have, and you'd like to step out and try another job and get more money. Well, that's fine, but you've got to have a reserve. You've got to be able to carry yourself for a period of time. And then when you make that job change and you start making money, you need to put some of that money away, because you'll be perhaps one day wanting to start your own business as opposed to working for someone else. And you have to ask yourself, what am I going to need in the form of resources? What am I going to need in the form of money? What am I going to need in the form of education? What is it that I have to do to create my value where I have the ability to generate these funds? That cup of water is a mental fact for me. Hard to think of which word I want to say, but it's a reminder that I need to reserve. And when I take that and I invest it, like taking the water and pouring it down that pump, there's a risk. But I've evaluated the risk, and I say, based on my knowledge, the risk is worth taking. But if it doesn't work, then I've got to go back and I've got to find some more resources, either more money myself or go find an investor. Here's one thing that I've learned in my 60 years as an entrepreneur. There is always money around if you've got a good idea or a good product. Believe that. I built a $60 million housing project in Diamond Bar, California, and I had a total of $10,000 to my name. I took that $10,000 and invested it in my company, and I invested in going out and finding an investor that would give me the millions of dollars I needed to make this project work. But they didn't give it to me because I had $10,000. Trust me on that. They gave it to me because it was a good idea and turned out to be very profitable for them and very profitable for me. The thing that you have to realize is that if you don't have the cup of water, find someone that does have the cup of water and will take the risk with you. That cup of water as a metaphor has stuck with me all my life, and I think about it all the time, perhaps to a fault if you ask my bride of 59 years. But it's come up several times, and I say we got to have that reserve. So for me, it's a thought that has been very helpful to me, and I think and I hope that it will be of some benefit to those of you that want to grow. And if you feel there's opportunity for you to grow in terms of learning how to communicate or learning how to listen, go to my link above and check out Tools for Sales Success. It's an idea whose time has come. Check it out. If you have any questions, give me a call. You can reach me at BillMitchellsAcademies.com. Don't hesitate to send me an email, and I will respond. Those are my thoughts for the day, and I'm sticking with them. It's been nice to have you aboard. Joanna, thank you for being here, and look forward to talking to all of you on Wednesday. Have a great day.